This study focused on the idea and relationship of whether the media has an effect or direct connection to how people interact with Asian Americans. This study really dug into just how much people accepted the stereotypes of Asian Americans the media portrays. The study researched to discover if the typical common stereotypes of Asian Americans portrayed in the media was the same in real life. The top 4 stereotypes following were investigated. 1. Asians are most likely to have academic success. 2. Asians are nerds. 3. Asians are always the last ones picked and left out. And 4. Non-Asians and non-Hispanics are least likely to form friendships with these groups of people. Asian Americans are the fastest growing ethnic group in the U.S. The population of the Asian people was estimated to grow 213% from 10.7 million in 2000 to 33.4 million in 2050. This would mark an increase of 4% to 8%. Asians are underrepresented compared to other minorities when it comes to our media. However, when they do appear, it is always with the same biased or stereotypical roles. The women are either silent, humble, obedient, exotic, and hypersexualized dolls, or evil, deceitful, seductive, and ruthless dragon ladies. Men, on the other hand, are characterized as culturally ignorant, effeminate, asexual, isolated, and subservient martial artists or stunning villains. Media representations of Asians have transformed from the yellow peril, a negative, coolie, gook, or deviant, to the model minority. This model first appeared in magazine articles, specifically the New York Times January 9, 1966 edition, and soon became widespread across movies, TV shows, magazines, and all other types of mainstream media.
Cultivation theory provides a useful theoretical framework explaining the effects of the media's stereotypical portrayals of racial ethnic groups on consumers' perceptions toward the targeted groups. Cultivation theory links media suggestion that repeated exposure to media stereotypes might lead to the acceptance of the stereotype as social reality. The purpose of the theory was to explain the effects of violent television. However, it has been applied to a variety of topics across media contents. Cultivation theory may be particularly applicable to the study of the stereotypes about Asian Americans because they are heavily concentrated in only a few geographical areas, resulting for indirect personal interactions with the rest of society. Lack of presence across the U.S. can also lead to Asian Americans being underrepresented, sometimes being characterized as foreign, non-American, quiet, nerdy, and passive. However, on the surface, this model minority stereotype portrays them as hardworking and intelligent. In fall 2004, a systematic investigation of a current media portrayal of Asian Americans on a primetime TV series found that Asian Americans are occupying only 2.7% of the total characters, which are holding high status positions requiring intelligence and advanced degrees. This could also reinforce the model minority stereotype. Throughout history, from the late 19th to early 20th centuries, Asian Americans were viewed as yellow blight upon the land. In stream media in the 1960s, the stereotype marked a departure from the previous portrayal of Asian Americans as invading yellow peril, a horde of depraved and civilized heathens who threatened to undermine the American way of life. Since the mid-1960s, the media has promoted Asians from being an oppressed racial minority to being a shining example for other racial minorities with their success in education, affluence, and strong work ethic. Unlike other races, such as blacks, who are frequently portrayed as loud, impulsive, and defiant, Asians are typically portrayed as poor communicators who are quiet, shy, and humble, who speak poor English. They are also stereotyped as all work and no play, who are technologically savvy with little interest in social activities. The cultivation theory suggests that consumers accept what is both stereotyped and what is not as social reality. For example, in advertising, Asian Americans are typically in roles of business rather than in domestic settings. This may affect their interaction, intent, behaviors with those in groups. Popularity and good communication skills promote peer acceptance rather than the perceptions and evaluations of the racial ethnic stereotypes. Given that Asian Americans have poor social skills and are stereotyped as foreigners, indicate they have limited social interactions.
In this research, there was 41 males, 127 females, 1 undefined. The sample included 148 whites, 6 blacks, 4 Asians, and 6 Hispanics, and 5 participants who identified themselves as other. The first 2 scenarios focus on race and ethnicity-related stereotypes, and the last 2 measure the effects of the stereotypes on participants' interaction patterns and attendant interpersonal relationships, academic success, lack of communication and social skills, peer rejection, likelihood to initiate friendship. In the results, this study was designed to investigate the overall perceptions of race and ethnicity-related stereotypes by the general public. It did not intend to compare the interracial ethnic differences in the perceived stereotypes about race and ethnicity. In academic success, Asian Americans will likely achieve academic success than any other racial ethnic group. Lack of communication and social skills. Asians were ranked the highest. Per rejection, Asians were in fact rated the highest in per rejection friendships. Initiated the likelihood to initiate friendship with Asians was found to score the lowest.
As with any research, this study had its limitations. The first limitation deals with the location of where the study was conducted. The sample was done in an area where the population was mainly upper and middle class Euro-American families. To better the study, they should have, and in future studies, should branch out with their minorities. In this study, whites accounted for 87% of the study sample, and people of color only 13%. The ethnic homogeneity of the university may have had an impact on the perceived stereotypes. The second limitation was that the use of cultivation theory only showed that the people's perceptions of the stereotypes aligns with those of the media, but it didn't justify the direct cause and effect relationship caused by it. The final limitation was that the use of hypothetical scenarios caused by the cultivation theory can minimize influences of variables, but it might not correctly reflect the nature of communication in the natural environment. Examining real, interracial, and ethnic encounters might provide us with valid and accurate results, which can accurately reflect the perceptions, stereotypes, and effects. As stated in the results, our hypothesis that Asians are most likely to have academic success, Asians are nerds, Asians are always last ones picked and left out, and non-Asians and non-Hispanics are least likely to form friendships with Asian Americans, were proved true or halfway true. In future studies, they should branch out and bring in more minorities, and they should study the reasonings behind why these are so widely accepted and not just take it because of the relationship with the media.